Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let Us Play. I need to turn that up just a little. And welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evans. Good to be with y'all today, and I hope you're having a good day. There we go. It's good to see you all. Good to see you, Gale. Good to see you, Badrox. Good to see you, Brayherd. Good to see you, Craig. I'm having all sorts of technical difficulties, but that's okay. We're here now. Gale, thank you for the 15 stream streak. Jockey Chicken. Yeah, I said Chicken, who's a bit of a jerk. And Gale, congratulations. You have won the crown of Firstendom this day. The crown of the Revolution, which is ironic, because the Revolution is about doing away with crowns, but brought in colonial architecture. We're doing a colonial revival architecture. Anyway, and Roxy also with a 15 stream streak saying, I hope you two have good meetings. Anyway, we're going to be working on a new building in Minecraft, so let's go ahead. Let's dive on into it. And Ariam also on a 15 stream streak. What happened 16 streams ago that y'all were just like, nah, we forgot? And Garudo Takuar, good to see you. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's dive on in. So, what I was thinking for a location is kind of this flat-ish area here. And let me pull up the inspiration. So I was pulling up examples of colonial era architecture and revival architecture, and I just came across this. It is a town hall in upstate New York that is the picture example on the Wikipedia page for colonial revival architecture. And it's kind of exactly what I want. The brick, the columns, the everything. A few changes we're going to make is, one, the front is going to have a curve, because why not? And then the area kind of above the porch will have another porch, an outdoor porch. Sure. With the roof kind of back. It'll make sense as we go along. So I'm going to leave this up for now, smaller, as reference, so give me a moment. There we go. So I have been working on gathering materials. Need to fire this clay. Brick is very expensive. Like, this represents one stack of brick. This is one stack. It's kind of ridiculous. But so for the lower portion, like the base of the building, we're going to use this smooth stone. Also have some dirt. I also have, as you can see, lots of nether quartz. You can get more pretty easily. I kind of like this level for where things should be, so we're going to start by clearing out some land. And I kind of want to build the base of the front of the town hall first, because that will give us a sense of scale for the rest of the building. So what I'm thinking is that, like, the front steps will extend down this way, but first we will have something kind of like, exactly like this, to serve as sort of the front steps porch area. So this is 12 wide. So I'm trying to think, proportionally looking at this building, it's almost like a 1-to-1-to-1. But I feel like our porch and steps is a little more narrow. So maybe, what if it was 1.5? So it was 18, 12, 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10. Then again, maybe not, because this is 12. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, okay. I think I'm going to keep it 1, 1, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Hey, Beer Fox. And then probably... What if we did 9? So it'd be... The internal width would be proportionally 2/3 or 3/4 of how wide each section is. Two, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that going to be big enough? I mean, I guess it's mostly aesthetic. Rather, it's not exactly needs to be a functioning town hall. Hey, Elaine, thank you for the lurk. Out of the way! This is an active construction zone. Silly Pokemon. Now, I do think I want to make it so that the ground is like that all the way around. Like, I don't want any sheer cliff faces on the foundation. What's being built now? A town hall! In the... That got startled. Anitsu-chan, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Building in the style of a neo-colonial or colonial revival building. So we have the reference down in the bottom. And largely because I can, I think I'm going to name this Azariah Crandall Town Hall. He's one of my Patriot ancestors. Although I suppose I could name, like, different parts of the building, have the, like, Azariah Crandall Ballroom and the Heinrich Kanner office and or something. Hey, Inca. Okay, construction zone 7 to call OSHA! OSHA, in my Minecraft? Uh-oh. Hey, Daryl. Doing pretty good. Starting work here on this new project, Town Hall. Got a reference picture of an actual town hall in the architectural style I want to do this in, so that's pretty convenient to find. Hey, JM. You finally started playing again? Hey! Well, you're up. I saw you doing some paintings last week. That's pretty cool. A painting backlog. Too many commissions. So there's good news about not hearing about the job. I asked the operations director, and she said there's still one candidate who had an interview scheduled for the end of the month. Ah, well, continued prayers. Finish for a month straight. Ah, the 2-week Minecraft phase, classic. This is like week 100 of my 2-week Minecraft phase. I'm actually legitimately very close to 100 streams of Minecraft based on my my VODs channel on YouTube. Great time I want, I swear. Nah, I can't even say that with straight face. And I didn't even start with a Minecraft day when I started streaming. I thought that it was a occasional thing that became more regular later on. Okay, we're gonna have to do some terraforming behind the building, but that's a later problem. Okay, there is our foundation. Yeah, just winging it based on the picture on the bottom right. And the picture on the bottom right captures the vibes, but I'm not doing it exactly either, so... Was that a Pokemon? Yes, this is a Cobblemon server. So, there are Pokemon everywhere. Go, my Heracross. Go, my very large Rhydon. Go, my extremely large Avalugg. My very large boys. I didn't want you, Snover, sorry. How does one play Cobblemon? You cobble and you mon. Good to see you, Step-Zero. I mean, it's basically just what it sounds like on the tin. It's Minecraft with Pokemon. It's good if you have, like, some semblance of roleplay in mind. So, like, my friends and I who are doing this server, 8 of us are designated as gym leaders. I am the bug and ice type gym leader. My gym is up there and only kind of works. Well, it works as a gym. It looks good, but I built it too high, and I didn't know that at the time, but Pokemon can't actually be summoned up there because of game limitations. Where do I get the mods needed for Cobblemon? The best place is to use CurseForge. It's a sort of a mod launcher for Minecraft and other games, but it makes it very easy to just be like, you just go to the marketplace and you're like, I would like 1 Cobblemon, please. Make sure I have this area lit up because I don't want a creeper to ruin my day. I got lucky with this mod pack because my friend Kevin the Space Penguin, who is in charge of this whole experience, just put it together and said, here's the link for everyone to download. Because we have like 50 mods. Can't be putting in work, yeah. Okay, so what I'm thinking is... Oh, Tantalus is here. So I'm thinking for the... what we'll call the porch. Something like that. Toulouse! Oh dear. Well, if it's a peer-to-peer sharing site, there's always some level of inherent danger. Let's just make a stack of quartz to start with. Ooh, oh, we have so many options. So I think quartz balcony would be good to kind of like steel in the sides. But I'm thinking quartz pillar. Let's make a couple of these. Make a bunch of those for right now. I can put that on stairs? Oh, that's huge. I should have gotten some placeholder stairs. Okay, so we'll probably so I'm thinking using quartz blocks as like the base of a pillar. So definitely want 2 there, so we'll have stairs down from there. I definitely want stairs, or not the stairs. Like a quartz pillar. Looking at the building, like I want these like incorporated into the corners. So I guess right here would be a good spot to do it. Around the edges. I hear you, zombie, and I do not care. You can register your complaints when the town hall is completed. We're going to have a bureaucratic system with lines out the door. And I'm thinking an additional pillar kind of here-ish. Kind of like that. And then we've got our balconies, our balcony railings. Hooray, bureaucracy, everyone's favorite. It keeps the bureaucrats employed. If we don't employ the bureaucrats, who's going to employ the bureaucrats? Yeah. That is kind of what I'm looking for. What Pokemon stone would most match my church? Like aesthetically or vibes? Yes. Well, I guess vibes might be the Dusk Stone because there's the whole catacombs underneath, and you know. That's one of the most fun things I've ever heard. But what about the bureaucrats? What about Debbie? Oh, also, I found these maple doors that I thought might be really good as the front doors. Got it. Someone's got to keep the red tape running. Finally, someone who gets it. So that's currently 4 tall. That feels like a good height for the first level. Maybe 1 taller. Currently 2, okay. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that feels better. And then we'll do layer of smooth, regular quartz. So I got to go make some more for that. Fortunately, this is why I went to the Nether. Went to the Nether store. What'd you buy at the Nether store? Soup. And then we'll put a layer of this smooth stone up top to be the upper area's balcony. 2 seconds and boom! Pillars are up! I mean, they're just 1 wide, and there's not all the pillars. I can make slabs. That's good to know how that works. I probably just need marbles or quartz stairs, honestly. Maybe the compact stairs; those might work better. We all have different gifts. I'm going to need a few more stairs, but that's okay. And no, the railing doesn't work with that. Dang it. How you doing, Kit? I am Divine, I am D Branches. Joke out of the way. Yeah, the Vine and the Branches is a powerful image. We all have different gifts. Me praying for Minecraft skills during Eucharistic adoration. I mean, mood. We could do that. We go over to the church. Can't really do real adoration, but you know. Anyway, so back to the Rotunda. Yeah, today is I am the vine, you are the branches. Powerful image of, especially with like plant biology in mind, and like the way that whoa, that's misbehaving. You know, the way the plant grows and does have that sort of interdependence on the vine and the branches. Okay, I like how these railings are starting, but I need to figure out how to get them the finish line. It's like also removing them's a little awkward, as you might have noticed. Oops, I think I made too many. Oh well. It's like when you're on the stairs, it's like, oh, okay, it's not where you guys belong. Please. For the sake of the aesthetics, please work normal. Why does that not want to line up? No! Wrong way! Maybe I have to do this from the outside? Oh, hold on. What if we did it that way so it's not just weirdly levitating? Have I been overcomplicating the stairs? No, couldn't possibly be me. It must be the children who are wrong. There we go. Just play Minecraft. I usually do. Oh, I need to go get my scaffolding. I don't... I do not have my scaffolding with me. I think I left that over at the Poke Center / ski lodge. There it is. Which, by the way, I'll show off really quickly while we're here. The berries are growing. Or have grown. So, you okay? Ow! I was trying to talk to him. I mean, heaven forbid the trader, you know, do some trading. You're so small, Centret. You're so tiny. We seal this in. So the idea is that there will be this balcony up here that you can access from the second floor, or maybe even third floor. Yeah, it's probably second floor. I had thought about doing a triangular roof here going back, but that seems pointless now since it's lined up with the main body. I could just do triangular roof clear across. But then again, no, I think we'll still do a triangle here. Because otherwise there's no real good place to put the doors. Bacon with a 25 stream streak. How you doing, Bacon? So I need to figure out how I want these walls here to be. I mean, we'll have windows, but what material do we want it to be out of? I don't want it to be brick because I'm looking at, like, the center of the reference picture. And, like, it's different. I like that it's broken up. But I don't want to just use smooth stone over and over again. I like these railings a lot now that I figured out how to make them work. go see what we have over at the leftover churchyard storage. Maybe I just do regular stone? Because, like... I think I want something that has a smooth, uniform texture. So if you use certain things, like polished diorite, polished andesite, they have a border between each block, just like the smooth stone does. And I don't mind that on the flooring, but I think on the walls, I want something more contiguous. Which, yeah, I think it's going to be regular stone. Huh. Regular stone would look like that. Which, yeah, I think that could work. Yeah. I just gotta... Oh. I thought I had some more. Should have grabbed the cobblestone while I was over here. Grab some bricks. I wonder. So we have amidst these mods. Sizable quartz window. I'm kind of wondering, so there's this resizable birch window, which, ooh, okay, well, okay. Calm down, mods. You may not be able to see, but the fact that it's resizable, but like that would give framing to a window that would break it up from the brick. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So this is center. So I probably want, honestly, it's kind of like that. So I could have a nice big window at the end of each hallway. And then we can have a little window there. I also need to figure out what kind of flooring I want to put in here. Probably a hardwood. Be a good option, I think. So maybe I should put that in first so I don't have to keep falling in there. So I'm thinking dark oak would look good. Especially sort of countering off of the reddish, well, not reddish, but the red hues of the brick and the brightness of the quartz. I think we have some dark oak lying around. And I know we have 2 more trees over there. Yep, dark oak planks. Dark oak planks. Dark oak planks. Dark oak log, spruce log. I'd not get enough saplings there. That only gave us 2. That's awkward. I have more in here. Yeah, okay. So I have 7 total now. But this will be enough for now. Take this, do that. Sir, may I interest you in a shipment of clay blocks? I would not be opposed to such things. What would you like for payment? No payment? Well, in that case, I'd absolutely be interested. I'll tell you what, I'll give you an office in Town Hall. Am I the mayor? I don't think so. I'm certainly not the bishop, but I did build the cathedral. I'm pretty sure Kevin's the mayor. I'm just doing this for aesthetics. Should we hold an election? Yes, sure. I mean, Major Oshipkashnek, my character in this server, is a major, so he has leadership experience. Kevin as mayor is the scary thought. Valid. If Kevin's mayor, we definitely should hold an election. Snap election, it's a referendum time. There we go. Now I don't have to fall into the void anytime I'm working up here now. Toss that back there. Okay. Back to placing bricks so we can figure out windows. So I probably want a block on each side of that pillar. So that's 1, 2. In which case, I'd probably actually want this in the corners so you can't see the marble. I always want to call it marble because that's what I'm trying to go for, is like that white marble look. But it's quartz. Would I like calcite? Probably not. I have plenty of that, but thank you. Okay, so I'll probably redo this so that there's 2 windows at each end then. Which could set a precedent for windows being too wide. Because what if we did that? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. No, that doesn't quite work. However, we could do 2, 3, 2. For the windows, so that, like, there's a slightly bigger office or a bigger window. So it's not perfectly symmetrical, but... Well, it is symmetrical, but it's not, like, perfectly portioned all the way across. So that leaves me with this section now. Okay, that doesn't line up. So what if we did 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we'd have 4 in the middle there. That's probably good, because then this could be like the entry area. So it would have a lot of extra windows to be nice and bright. Yeah. Now, I didn't think about this. What material is are the inside walls? Why do I keep putting my scaffolding away? I need that, like, on me at all times. Because what I'm thinking is... have a window like that. And then 2 big windows. Like that. I'm gonna go hunt for some birch trees now, because I kind of want to see what that birch window trim is like. Also, we should have enough glass, because I think we had plenty of glass left over from the hotel / Alpine Lodge / Poké Center / berry farm. Yeah, we got plenty. More sticks. More sticks is good because we'll need those. Those off for now. And head across. We ride. We ride for dawn. No, actually, I should make torches. I'm very distractible today. Oh, look, squirrel! Yeah, there's actually 2 squirrel-type Pokemon. Sometimes they spawn and they're massive, and it's kind of terrifying. Where have I seen birch trees? Because this one of the mods adds a lot of extra types of trees, which is cool, but also makes it harder to find some of the basic trees you're used to. That looks like a birch forest over there, the yellow. And Heracross is tired. There's a building here. Is this a naturally occurring building, or did someone make this? Oh, it's villager camp. Cool. Cool. Sorry, guys. I didn't know. I'm leaving. Goodbye. Hey, look. Maple. No, it's okay, dude. No. No. Anyway, back to the birch forest. Just him with the tiny seal. There's an option. How was the meeting? Other evidence, benevolent dictator. I hope I'm not a dictator. Discussed fraud with our auditors. Oh, that sounds like a good time. A benevolent one. Oh, no! I mean, I'm glad I'm benevolent, but like... Look, these pillagers are just vibing, existing, doing their own thing. Now, if they show up in my area, I might not be so benevolent. Nah, who am I kidding? I'm still gonna run and hide. Well, the heavy hand of an Avalug. Okay. Sure, why wouldn't I make a Cheval de Frise? Guess I need a window base. Oh, it's with that kind of glass. No. Well, at least breaking these windows, you get them back. Now Zapdos has spawned. Three, 2, 118. 103. So it's over this way. Oh, there it is. That does not look like a Zapdos. I guess I've never really seen a Zapdos with its wings in. Zapdos is not ice. Yeah. You noticed. That's a Galarian Zapdos. There's a Galarian Zapdos? I did not play the Galarian games. Which one was Galeria? Is that Sword and Shield? This does have regional variants, apparently. No, right on. Annual review of 2025. It's May. Well, I mean, we're just getting to our annual reviews in our office too. Lowland Vulpix. I think the rest of this fight's gonna go poorly, but, you know. You'll have to revoke your Millennial card because you think the Galar Virgin Legendary Bird Trio are cooler than Gen 1 counterparts? Oh no! I won't tell anyone. No! It appeared to be caught. Go my level tone a Snover. I'm sure this will be fine. Look like chickens. Maybe they are chickens. Yeah, good job. You did 5%. Young! Roxy. Yeah, Durant, you're perfect for this fight. Steel Bug against Flying Electric. Or no, wait, why is this Zapdos fighting type? Is that the Galarian variant? This? What? Why? I'm fascinated by this concept. Nope. Excuse me. Swash is weird, apparently. Bye, Champagne. I'm just gonna throw Pokeballs at it now. Get in the Pokeball. I gotta get lucky eventually. Oh, it's an Angie Bird. I don't think I'm catching this Zapdos. I didn't know that rule was still in effect. And to be fair, I haven't caught this legendary. Technically, yeah, technically. Yeah. And even if he were here, I'd say I have not caught it. Ooh, Raikou, it's our last legendary went so well. Okay, that's going to take a lot more wood and glass than I thought it would, but that's okay. I feel like that does give us, though, a good semblance of what this will look like. And I like it. I like the black and the white. I'm going to finish building this, and then I'm going to take a look, and I'm going to realize I didn't actually build one of the pillars in the corner. Oh, sup, Raikou? How you doing? Huh? How you doing, buddy? I'm not going to try to catch it, for the record. Doesn't mean I'm not allowed to not try and fight it. Oh, is this your Raikou? Wait. Oh, you're in the fight with the Raikou right now. That's why I can't fight it. I thought something was glitching. 35! Ah, that's okay. Young Adult goes up to 39 now. I would know. I've done research on this. You're like 40. Yeah, you like rounding because you're an accountant. Materiality threshold. That's a word. Or words, I suppose. That's where my money went. It was rounded down. Yes, and it wasn't anything else. No beer or anything else. Hello, Tantalus. Ow, 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 my face. Thank you. Your Dragapult is stuck here. Sir, you have a trash can. Trash cans make good backpacks. Okay, well, you know. You learn something new each day. I'll try to explain that to TSA next time I'm flying. Ow. I could, in theory, make this 2 floors, actually. Up here, and then do a 3rd floor attic. I might do that. One thing we're going to need more of is coal. I could make charcoal, but I always find that just more obnoxious than anything else. Plus, coal's pretty abundant and easy to find. Yeah, otherwise, just... Hope we're having a good Wednesday, too. Meow. The darkness is approaching, whether I resize it or not. I can't complain. It's pretty good. Is that realize it? Because I kind of like the idea of trying to resize the darkness as well. It isn't like the pinch and grab, work on the darkness. Oh, there's a village in here. Look at that. Little hidden village. Nah, this is what we're looking for, caves. Wait, dacite? What? Hello, sir. Just ignore me. Just looking in the cave for some coal. Cancel last 2 birthday parties. Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. After the party thrice as hard. Well, break out the Andrew WK then. I'm surprised this entire mountainside doesn't have a single cave. Oh, the Jesus here. Yeah, I turned 33, and then like the week after was Palm Sunday, so that was interesting. You could make a cave. What? Are you suggesting that I mine in Minecraft? Ugh. No, sir. I look for biomes like this where coal grows abundantly on the surface. Okay, maybe not abundantly, but... I always need coal, Tantalus. Secretly, I am Santa. And the naughty list just seems to grow. Yours craft. It's such a satisfying pop sound when you break all the pieces at once. Rocky stone? Sir, would you like to describe to me a not rocky stone? Or is this of the Balboa kind? Oh, hey, look, an emerald. Conveniently next to more coal. Oh, thank you. Oh, this is a good area of coal. Look at all this coal. Did you notice what I didn't have to do? Make a cave. Okay, that should be enough for now. And also, it's getting dark. This music from game or my own playlist? This is my own playlist. So Ron Galinas makes copyright-free music. So I just kind of have a bunch of his albums on shuffle for during Minecraft and the pre-show and when I need to take a break. There's Cairnwick, Ren's place. But yeah, he does nice kind of chill lo-fi beats. And again, copyright free, which we love. I'm going to wind up leaving that picture of the town hall there up tomorrow, I fear. Like, I'm just going to forget. So many emeralds. It's practically chaotic how many there are. I am participating in Goth on Friday. Come vote for me. Or whoever you think is funniest. Oh dear, that was a creeper blowing up behind me. I should find my base just on the other side of this ridge. Yep, there's my gym to the right. There's my apricorn farm. There's the church. Go to sleep. Oh, I don't want... Oh, that was left in there. That one ran out of coal, that's why. Okay, so we can put the coal in there. Let's grab... stacks of clay. I'm probably going to have to leave this running between, like, not constantly, but, like, pop in and set it up so it's making some more brick. Wait, did those birch trees give me yellow maple saplings? I am confused. But I don't have any birch saplings, so... That's weird. That's not how trees work. Well, there was a zombie. Okay. Yeah, so I think if I do a second floor, I could do it at this height, but I'd probably keep this area open as like an atrium, and then have it walled off from here. That's not how windows work. So in effect, and then that would give me 3 tall. I think actually I might do it 3 tall on the ground floor and then 2 tall on the next one. So have the break be there. What's the subject of Goff this week? Mother's Day. So, Mother Mary. And it's probably going to be one of the most wholesome episodes ever. That's a banana kit. Yeah. No, but it's not just me. It's myself, Junie, Father Mark, and Sister Nancy, who is a Pauline sister, who I'm friends with. So, yeah. Wholesomeness on a dating show of an episode where 3 of the 4 contestants have taken public vows of celibacy. Everyone does love Nana Kit. This is true. As well, they should. So I'll probably have the top of this be a regular quartz block, so it matches the front. It is. It's the first time that a religious sister has ever been on Goff. Yeah, I met Sister Nancy at a Catholic media conference. I went to her panel. What was it? Well, not panel. It was her and someone else. It was about the importance and power of stories. I remember that much, but I don't remember its title. Ooh, it was good. It was really good, though. should go there. To match everything else. Ow! I thought I was going down. And you see this line across. You can see one on the between the first and second floor on the picture. Should I do that? I should probably do that in smooth stone, I guess. Our stories. Yeah, no, it was really good. It was gosh, I wish I could remember. I have the notes somewhere. But she does a thing. She's based in LA, and she does this thing she calls Cinema Divina. She hosts like workshops and things at the online bookstore in LA. Yeah, no, that's awesome, JM. And stories are incredibly important and powerful. You should look into Doxicon then, JM, by the way. It's an awesome conference that I've had the privilege of going to for the last 3 years. And it's hosted by an Orthodox church in the DC area. And it's all about the intersection of speculative fiction and faith, particularly like, you know, how these stories matter and impact us. And a lot of really awesome and interesting speakers. Won't be much info. Yeah, we won't want to dox you, that's for darn sure. Doxicon, like doxology. I was incredibly honored that I was asked to be the keynote. They always have 2 keynotes, one clergy, one lay, and I was invited to be the clergy keynote last year. And I was the first. It's like I said, it's an Orthodox thing, but it's open to all peoples. But I was the first non-Orthodox clergy to do the keynote. Dox? Me? Never. Exactly. The first year I went, you'd probably actually really like the keynote, which is it's a great space of dialogue and encounter. But the first year I went, the keynote was by Deacon Nicholas Kotar, who's a published author. And his whole thing, it was a study of St. Basil's letter to young men on the importance of reading the classics, or what we'd call the classics now. They would have called them something more like the pagan authors at the time. and the importance of paying attention to the stories. And he used that in dialogue with, I forget what modern media he uses his example in it. Hey, Slox, I mess with you in return. Well, it's in the DC area, so if you're close to that, it's being held at Catholic U. It's been there for the last 2 years, and it's worked out really well. And it's not terribly expensive. It's like $85 for a ticket. I think... Yeah, I remember the command. Yeah, so if you go... that link will take you to his keynote from the 23 Doxicon, which is all about the importance of stories, and he is an amazing speaker. He's just, like, super eloquent. Although I must say, ironically, I found that I tried reading one of his books recently, and I just could not get into it. And that's not a criticism of him as an author by any means, because it was well written. I just could not get into it. So it's more on me. I just found it funny that I'm like, oh, this guy's a great speaker. Oh, I can't really get into his writing. This is looking pretty good. This is a good amount of work for day one. The Doxicon is also how I met Brayherd, member of the chat. Although I may actually... Yeah, I'm gonna trim this back by 1. Because this is where the wall will go, so... Not sure what we'll do about stairs yet. That sounds like a future Father Evan problem. See how it looks on this side. You know, from this side, it looks like a school building. To be fair, it kind of looks like a school building from the front as well. But that's because a lot of schools are built in a colonial revival style. But yeah, we'll have this as sort of the entryway. I think these walls will probably be concrete. I think I have white concrete lying around. I think I should be able to... In fact, let's go look. I think I have some back from when we built the rocket. Documentary all clear. We're on YouTube. Oh, cool. Yeah, Claire has a great story. Very much led the way for the future of women's religious in new ways, in the same way that Francis did for men's. I love the story of how she's patron saint of television. There was one time she was so sick she couldn't leave her cell, her room, but she wanted to attend mass, and she had a vision of the mass happening in her convent's chapel, like she was watching it on television, you know. Okay, so we have 8 things of white concrete powder. It's not a lot. I also don't have a great water source to harden it. Yeah, Bishop Sheen's beatification should be later this year. Concrete powder in there. We'll worry about that later. For now, I want to make some more balcony pieces. I'm going to need more than that. That'd be a pretty cool opportunity, Jam. I've never been to a canonization mass, I just realized. Or a beatification. Be cool to go to. Were you flying on a Heracross? I was. He's very helpful to get around. I don't know. Some of the other people on this server fly around on crazier things, I think. So much clay, but I have to break it down into the clay balls, because if you fire the clay, you get terracotta. Yeah, Tantalus flies around on a tiny... Well, Tantalus' whole team is tiny. He went out of his way. Because you notice how Pokemon can be, like, different sizes within their own species. I was trying to find an example of like another tiny that we saw earlier. Well, I have champagne. Champagne's a pretty tiny steel. It's a class relic. Oh, cool. Yes, and then we also have large, so we can get things like this. It's Wednesday, isn't it? It's Wednesday, my dudes. How you doing, Mel? I like this, though. I like how that upper deck turned out, and good. I got some more. I should go get the rest of my chicken. I was cooking chicken earlier. See, distractible. So it's the most insurance, boring insurance position, but it would pay bills. Well, it pays bills. That's good and helpful. Is it data entry? Is it the data entry position? Because I feel like that'd be pretty boring. Personal lines again? Oh. Well, it pays the bills. So were you offered the position? Because if you've been offered, at least that's something. Okay, speaking with the recruiter. Ah. So I'm trying to think what material to make the roof out of, and I think Zelkova might be good. I think we have some Zelkova logs over here. 2 interviews in San Antonio. Ooh. Well, that's exciting. That's Sika. There's some Zelkova. So Zelkova... need sticks. So Zelkova would be like this. This gray position, so. We look for pays the bill work. Yeah. I hope you get the position though. I know they have to do their due diligence. I'm glad to hear that it's still ongoing, but they haven't made their decision, just haven't told you yet. Yeah, I think we're just gonna do normal roof pieces here. We'll start out with just a few. How do you divide? I thought there was a way to divide that. Oh, I just have to dig it up. Okay, cool. That sounds like a future father of problem. Say you just need a Starfleet uniform. Nice. Let's grab some stone. Because we'll need that. Because the idea is that this would match here. Along this back wall. Comic-Con Starfleet. Red Fair Starfleet. I met a guy cosplaying a Borg once, and his number was 6 of one, half dozen of another. I thought that was pretty clever. Yeah, so we'll have that. So this will be like an attic space, but still accessible. And the idea is that the roof here will go back and converge with the roof coming in this way. So like, it'll have the seam up that way. Now the awkward thing is that this comes to an even point and this one comes to an odd point, but I think it should mesh just fine. And then we'll have the bell tower sitting on top as well. But okay, so that's where the door goes. So the door goes there. And we can have a small window there and there, and potentially even up there. Invisalign! Standing on the railing. Do. Taking a look at the church. Oh, is he rector of the cathedral parish? Is that it? Of course he is, so long as he's not bishop. I don't know if I trust him to be bishop. Deathly afraid of the prelacy, yes. I mean, to be fair, the Paulists are deathly allergic to being prelates. In our entire 160-year history, not one of us has been named bishop, and one of us was named Monsignor once. That was it. 2 weeks after he was named Monsignor, he died. I'm just saying, maybe it's a sign from God. To be fair, the guy who was made Monsignor was already on his deathbed when he's named, and the bishops had wanted to name him Monsignor earlier, and he kept refusing. Leave the prelacy to the origins there about Peter. Yeah. The Paul family ones don't need that. Yeah, so we'll be... So I think we'll actually put... I need some more dark oak. Because I think we'll need to put... You won't be able to see the roof from the atrium here. Because we'll need to have a floor that you can get in and out of, and that'll be in the attic space. So that line there will be flooring again. But the atrium will still be the 2-story open area. Maybe this is where we put the stairs. We can put the stairs, like, here-ish. Hey, Maximus. I did get really far, actually. Now, we're going to have to do a lot of internal work, because I do want to separate this into rooms that are like offices and things, but I feel pretty happy with the amount of work that we did get done on this today. But I think that's where we're going to have to call it for the day, just looking at the time. So thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with you all today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Join us again tomorrow as we're playing Super Solvers Think. It's a game I remember from my childhood. It's a puzzle-solving game, edutainment. It's fun. And Friday, I'll be on Goff, so you can check that out either at ptony or here on this channel. So that'll be fun. And then Monday, Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. Tuesday, Keeper. And Wednesday, more Minecraft. So I think that's the whole week cycle. So thank you to everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed, given bits, all that good jazz. Thank you for checking out the YouTube and the Discord. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And let's see who's live that we can raid into. Yeah, Kerbo. Anyway, I'm gonna send you over to Rico. He's playing Super Mario Galaxy. I think he's having his son play. Raid call is Father Raid. So use any emotes that you want with it. But go give Rico some love. He's a good guy. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. God bless.